In the infirmary, Thamdar is lying on the bed. Suddenly, he wakes up, sits up dazed, looking around. His face clearly shows fatigue. He speaks in a low voice. At the end of the bed, an old door appears. It emits a smoke of red and black colors blending together, looking extremely bizarre. Seeing it floating in the air, he rubs his eyes, wondering if he's hallucinating a door floating in the air. As if to confirm, he approaches the door, but it remains still. Thamdar becomes larger as he slowly moves to the back of the door and sees nothing unusual. He speaks in a low voice. This door is indeed hanging here, and there's nothing magical behind it. Curiosity arises. He grabs the door handle, turns it, and a creaking sound echoes clearly in the room. Just as the door opens, a powerful force pulls him in, causing him to panic and scream, "Ah!" Thamdar tumbles onto the ground. Half of his body remains on the bed, and the other half is inside the door. He looks at the dark old corridor ahead. On both sides of the walls, dark red streaks are smudged. He's surprised. Wait, so there's another space behind the door. Thamdar slowly stands up, raising his voice. It's too dark here. Where is this place? Is anyone here? In response, the sound of gnashing teeth comes from the corridor. In the dark space, the sound of grinding teeth blends together like a horror soundtrack. He trembles as a giant skeleton begins to appear before him. Its head has 3 eyes emitting blue light, its mouth full of sharp teeth, and blood trickles down its face onto the ground. A shrill, loud laughter comes from its mouth. His complexion turns pale as he panics and screams, "Ah!" The monster is rushing towards me. It opens its blood-stained mouth and roars. Thamdar tries to run on all fours, continuously crying, "Ah, ah, ah." He runs towards the door, rushes to the bed, and quickly locks the door. On the other side, the door makes a loud sound. He shouts loudly, "Sorry for bothering you, may you live happily. Goodbye." He falls back onto the bed, his voice still trembling. This strange world is too dangerous. That monster rushed here too quickly. Suddenly, the huge door vanishes in a flash, leaving only black smoke. Thamdar becomes vague and asks, "Hey, where did the door go?" It really disappeared. While he's still panicking, a dark voice suddenly echoes in his head. "Congratulations, humanity. You have awakened the power to connect worlds. Finally, I have found you." He hurriedly looks around, cautious, and asks, "Who? Who is speaking?" The voice lowers its tone. "Don't be tense. I'm trapped in another world and I'm now speaking to you through telepathy. Listen, the time for exchange between the 2 worlds is limited. If you don't want to die, do as I tell you." He asks again, exchange through telepathy. "What is this?" The voice slowly guides him. "First, open your backpack and find a strange statue." He reaches into his backpack, searching, and murmurs, "The statue." Sure enough, he finds a statue. Looking at the grotesque shape of the statue, he asks, "Is this the statue?" The voice replies without hesitation, "Yes, this is the cursed statue of King Fee letter 1 E1 ND stroke letter 1 ECD of a demon. Someone deliberately left it beside you to curse you, kill you, and steal your soul, but you survived." Thamdar hears like thunder in his ears. He opens his eyes in astonishment, carefully examining his body, and murmurs, "Memories are flooding in. It turns out I am not the owner of this body. This body belongs to a middle school student named Thamdar." In the last memories, dark beams tightly grabbed his head. Indeed, his soul was cursed and killed by the statue. Perhaps because of the same name or some other fate, he suddenly died from overworking. The pure soul rushed here, taking over his body. He looks at the statue in his hand, emitting red smoke. The voice echoes in his ears, "Humanity, once this curse cannot kill you, it will grant you immense power. For 10,000 years, it has drained the entire power of your soul." As soon as the words stopped, the statue appeared with cracks. In a blink of an eye, the statue shatters into dust. Then the voice orders, "Now call that door again." He asks, "Call the door." The sound from the void responds, "Yes, that door now belongs to you." Moments later, the door reappears. The voice continues, "That is your power to connect worlds." A notification appears, because last time you entered the door politely, you received an item for evaluating politeness. The polite person below the notification is a grey-colored item. Another explanatory box appears. The polite grey item destroys the evaluation equipment. By using this item, you will receive benefits as follows. After acting politely, others' impressions of you will slightly improve. He gently touches the item, speaking in a low voice. The evaluation item seems to be a passive skill that can be equipped. The sound suddenly becomes weak. "My power is almost depleted. Humanity must be careful in dealing with you using the cursed statue. Once they know you're still alive, they will come to kill you, perhaps immediately attacking in front of you. Today, you enter a world called the Nightmare World." At the same time, the door displays the words "Nightmare World" in red. The voice tries to convey its last words. "This is the prison world I am held in. Humanity, keep becoming stronger. Then go deep into the Nightmare World to free me. Until then, I will definitely repay humanity. Before that, don't die." After a moment, no sound comes out. He murmurs, the voice disappeared. He sits still, recalling memories, thinking to himself, "Did someone want to kill me the moment I transmigrated? Why? I didn't find any enemy when searching Thamdar's memories. You actually wanted to kill him." Thamdar sits on the bed reasoning, in short, equip the item first then think further. Now, I have no skills to protect myself, so I have to step into the door to see if there's anyone.
He grabs the door handle and twists, but a skeleton emerges from the door.
Nevertheless, he's determined, forget it, go in first then think. At worst, escape outside. As long as the door isn't too far, it can't hurt me. That skeleton looks very strong. Although I can't fight it, maybe I can talk to it. As he opens the door, black gas spreads outside the room. His body grows larger. Indeed, communication is the foundation of humanity. The skeleton is a dead person. Dead people can also speak. Perhaps he can negotiate to make his assistant to help fight against the enemy's pursuit. Not knowing who he's supporting, maybe with the help of the polite person, there is hope. Trying to keep calm, Thamdar places his hands on his chest, introduces himself. Hello, my name is Thamdar. He silently thinks the polite person is activating. The skeleton remains silent, staring at him. Seeing its silence, he's secretly pleased, thinking, good, it seems to have been effective. He then speaks, sorry for bothering you earlier, I wanted to make friends with you. He takes a breath and says, just before he can finish the sentence, the skeleton swings its arms with sharp claws rushing towards him. He quickly steps back, screams, ah. His hand slams forcefully on the ground, causing a crack to appear. Thamdar steps back onto the bed, angrily says, do you need to be violent like this? I just wanted to talk to you. The enraged skeleton raises its hand, slamming the door shut with a loud noise. He quickly leans back, hitting his body against the bed hard, groaning, ouch.
He sits up, propping himself up with his hands, exclaiming, too dangerous.
If the door is broken, it will disappear immediately. The grey item is indeed trash. Maybe I can get a new item this time. A notification appears before him. Item evaluation can only be received once a day. Today's attempts have been used up. Keep trying tomorrow. Seeing this, he grins to himself, realizing that it's impossible to obtain infinite items.
Thamdar thinks if this skeleton blocks the door forever, then tomorrow I can't receive better items.
The assassin could come at any time. I don't have much time to waste. Thinking that, he reaches forward and yells loudly, door.
The door opens, faintly showing his previous life as a salesman.
Before opening the door, he thinks to himself, in my past life, I was a sales clerk. I must conquer you. As the door opens, a serious voice echoes, sorry to bother you again, I'm here. However, welcoming him is not a warm attitude, but a set of sharp teeth. The skeleton is gnashing its teeth. The sound from the door is extremely grating. Thamdar opens the door again and enters, calmly saying, it's useless. He changes his strategy to a softer approach, saying, I can't eat you. I can freely move between the two worlds, we can only communicate.
The enraged skeleton throws the door, which has been partially eaten, towards him.
He doesn't dodge, but steps forward, raising his voice. Do you want to hear my proposal? Hearing this, the skeleton freezes and remains silent. Seeing it turn and leave, he urgently shouts, hey, don't go. You applied your observation skills to convincingly argue. Since earlier, I've noticed that you were injured when you were eating human flesh. Your left arm is broken, and new bones are gradually growing. Not only is your left arm injured, but your skull, ribs, and spine also have multiple areas damaged, right?
Hearing you say that, it stopped.
Seeing that you achieved your goal, you took out your phone, searched for it, and held it up with just a finger on the screen. Although you couldn't let me, our world has many things that you consume, which are beneficial for your bones.
For example, this calcium pill is specifically used to treat bone and joint diseases.
Besides, there are many more nutritious items than me. You tried your best to make your voice pleasant.
If we were friends, I could buy it for you.
After all, we have a saying here, friends can sacrifice themselves, let alone just buying a few calcium pills. Of course, I think if you sacrifice yourself, it's not a problem.
Seeing the other party still silent, you lowered your tone and asked softly.
A purple light suddenly appeared in front of you. A skeletal hand opened wide, and in the palm was a sphere emitting purple light. Thamdar stepped back. Thinking illusions wouldn't work, it seemed you had to think of another way. A piece of paper with strange characters below, along with an image of a skull, and the same text. You received a contract. Main whispered, oh, so the contract was successful. You read the text on the contract. The signatory was the Bone Mother, a dark skeleton. Revenant, the executor of the king. Demon Minju, victorious and defeated. Kaju found it hard to understand the background of this monster. Wait, why are there ellipses at the end of the name? Continue reading. Minju, victorious and defeated. Commander recruits the battlefield of the 5th team of the Bone Army. You realized it was a minor officer. You carefully read the entire content of the contract. The contract's content exchange. P.S. Remember, 7,000 years ago, humans used their talents to create culture, art, and science, making the eternal bell of destiny resound immortally. At the time, even the gods squinted at humanity, hoping you could help restore our power.
We have never made a contract with anyone other than the divine, so you should understand the value of this contract.
At the end of the contract, it says this is a fair contract. Once both parties are dissatisfied, the contract can be voided at any time. Please sign your name below, and this contract will be established. You saw the signatory line and decided to agree. A purple light appeared on your finger. You slowly signed your name. Thamdar immediately displayed the words Humanity Victory. The curse of the demonic beast. You guard the gate between nightmares and reality, the only one who controls the space of both realms. You were amazed and exclaimed joyfully, realizing you possessed this level of power. The skeletal figure no longer showed any signs, indicating the contract was complete. Dam was discharged from the hospital and returned home with your parents to an apartment in a high-rise building.
Your parents were concerned and advised.
Syra di letter on the ear one, you just got discharged.
If you're not well, you must inform us in time.
Your mother felt uneasy, took out another box and said in the next few days, stay home and rest to recover.
Don't stress too much with other things.
This is a health supplement to boost your health when taking on an empty stomach. Your father also took out a bag and instructed, I also bought some calcium pills you might need. Take this. You accepted the items they offered awkwardly and replied, thank you, Mom and Dad.
Your mother sat beside you, gently said, it's family. What gratitude.
Just being safe and healthy is more important than anything. Your face became angry, but you secretly felt lucky. In your previous life, you were an orphan, and feeling cared for by family like this was wonderful. Suddenly, the sound of knocking on the door caught everyone's attention in the house. Your father went out to open the door. 2 men in blue uniforms entered.
The large, fat man at the front raised his badge and introduced himself. Hello, we are the East City Police, handling the case related to Thamdar.
Your father replied, cases like these happen every year. There are so many similar incidents that it's hard to predict. Facing this situation, you could only accept it. The officer continued, that's right. We are also at a loss.
Luckily, you've recovered, which is fortunate in this unlucky situation.
You remained silent and thought to yourself, Thamdar initially.
You imagined the
Door and the eerie monsters inside that had drained the life force of the other boy, falling into contemplation
That you had been killed by a summoned monster through a curse long ago.
Your eyes became sad as you whispered,
Perhaps next time, if someone faces a similar situation, they can only accept their fate. The large, fat
officer was unsure how to respond to your statement.
Another officer standing behind, with a hand made of metal, broke the silence and said, Miss TH1E9M, I understand you're not in a good mood, but I have something to tell you.
He looked at you and announced the higher-ups have approved it. Soon, the hospital will be abandoned and no one will be allowed in anymore. Rest assured, no more victims will appear. You looked closely and noticed that his chest didn't match the others.
You thought to yourself, the police badge has 3 stars.
I didn't expect a young lieutenant like him. Despite his words, there was still fear in his mouth. Thank you for telling me this. I'm just worried someone might want to confront me.
He didn't believe it
And interrupted.
You're just a middle school student with extremely simple social relations.
We haven't discovered any enemies like that for you. After speaking, he turned and left.
Before leaving, he added, that's all for now. We have duties to attend to.
We won't bother you anymore, sir.
You opened the door to see them go.
Meanwhile, you worriedly thought that the rank of the curse of the demonic beast was very high. Not only could the police not handle it, but even the government was helpless. It was clear that even the police were afraid and wouldn't dare to approach.
You sat still, thinking that Thamdar was just an ordinary middle school student.
After all, who would want to use such a powerful tool against you?
Suddenly, there was a noise outside the door.
Not knowing if the door was locked,
The officer from earlier returned, looking around.
you asked, officer, didn't you leave?
Why did you come back?
He took out a business card, handed it to you, and said, here, this is my business card.
Thamdar was still stunned and replied, yes, thank you.
The other person turned around, pulled down his hat, and left, reminding you if anything unusual happens, call me. Hearing the clattering sound outside the door signified that he had left.
You examined the business card and saw it was written as Officer Lakfai Zion.
Your thoughts became chaotic. It seemed not all police officers were incompetent.
However,
You still couldn't be sure if you could trust him or if he could help you. It seemed he wasn't following his superior's orders. What could a single officer like him do when neither the police station nor the government could get involved?
Your face became more serious as you thought, after all, everyone knows I'm still alive.
The murderer surely won't leave me alone. Thinking about your parents, both familiar and distant, you worried that if something went wrong, it might affect your family.
With this in mind, you stood up,
Raised your arms, and silently decided to make yourself stronger.
Thamdar shouted loudly,
And the old door appeared before you.
You opened the door, greeted with the professional smile of the skeletal staff. Looking into the darkness ahead, you shouted loudly, skeleton. Were you here? The skeleton lowered its head from above. Seeing you, it reached into its pocket and laughed. I brought the calcium pill for you.
After receiving the item, it pointed to your bag.
Not hearing its voice, you reached into your bag, took out the medicine your mother gave you, and asked, what's this for?
The skeleton wanted the supplement the same. Immediately, a piece of paper appeared in its hand, followed by a spiral emitting blue light. It clearly stated, the opponent desires a more effective health supplement. In your hand, from the blue light emerges a sparkling green crystal. The roll paper displayed additional notes, basic nightmare crystal, item crafted by high-level spirits from the skeleton's former enemies. It can transfer a type of knowledge, skill, or intelligence to the user. In the eternal theme of war nightmares, all knowledge of civilization revolves around quickly enhancing combat strength. As a battlefield collector, it selects the relics of enemy soldiers from some of the spoils obtained from war to exchange for your supplement. Knowing you're curious, the roll paper added the note, Nightmare Crystal Level 1, an item crafted by high-level spirits from the skeleton's former enemies. It can transfer a type of knowledge, skill, or intelligence to the user. In the eternal theme of war nightmares, all knowledge of civilization revolves around quickly enhancing combat strength. Thamdar reached out to grab the water artifact, excitedly saying that the glass could grant knowledge and skills. It sounded very interesting, but as his hand touched it, a cracking sound echoed. The glass artifact in his hand shattered into many pieces, scattering wildly in the air. From the light of the glass, he saw shadows with various actions occurring, entering his body. Alongside were notices indicating he had learned the N, GUI, letter 1EC7TH, letter 1E1L, letter 1ED9C ham technique, the main body method of the spirit clans, soldiers from the undead spirit tribe. The skeletons had been at war all year with the spirit clan to resist the undead spirits. The spirit clan created this body method, which helps users evade sudden attacks and blend in.
Thamdar felt himself brimming with energy, thinking to himself, I never expected that by using a great medicinal pill, I could exchange for the spirit clan's body method.
Now I have the basic ability to protect myself.
While he was excited, the skeleton was also absorbing the medicinal pills he had brought.
The medicine boxes hovered in the skeleton's clawed hands. It did not use them on the spot, but slowly moved backward, blending into the endless darkness.
He stood there torn between crying and laughing.
Hiding in the dark now. We've already made a pact, yet you still act mysteriously.
What though?
Outside the door, the sound of knocking suddenly echoed. Knock, knock. He closed the mysterious door again, thinking to himself, never mind, I should still study the NGUI, letter 1EC7TH, letter 1E1L, letter 1ED9C ham body method first before taking anything else. It seems like my parents have already gone back to their bedrooms. He returned to his room, and a notification appeared. First stage of the NGUI, letter 1EC7TH, letter 1E1L, letter 1ED9C ham body method evasion.
Required agility 3 points.
Currently assessing your body's innate qualities. Your agility is 2, lacking 1 point to use evasion.
Thamdar thought, so curious this feels like a game.
What should I do to improve my agility?
Suddenly, a cold sound echoed. Didn't expect you to still be alive. His expression became serious.
He glanced out the window and saw a masked man standing there.
With the long scar on his head, the man disdainfully said, let me see. After all, what kind of guts do you have? He finished mockingly. The masked man, wielding a weapon, rushed towards him. Thamdar quickly leaned to dodge the attack. Even though his attack missed, the man remained steady and landed firmly, snarling, good body method, kid. He quickly stabilized himself, thinking to himself, oh, too dangerous. The assassin is approaching so fast. Why, he remembered someone from before and muttered politely, activating a smile, hello, sir.
May I ask if you need something?
However, the man did not change his demeanor and swung his sword loudly. You're just a crafty cat scratcher.
With your speed and agility, you can't even dodge a bullet. At this moment, a notification appeared. The glass has granted you knowledge, skills, and equipment from the nightmare world. Each has its own rank from low to high, destruction grey, common white, superior green, Vietnamese blue, eternal middle, and infinite purple. The higher the rank, the stronger the effect. The rank of the polite person you have is destruction grey. So, this is a low rank. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Damn it, I still can't use NGUI. Letter 1EC7TH, letter 1E1L, letter 1ED9C han.
The masked man saw Thamdar's agile body method and snarled coldly, evade for a long night.
He drew his weapon, pointing it at him. It's just some cat scratches. With your speed and agility, you can't dodge a bullet. He was sweating profusely, seeing the man taking such risks, worried.
Too late. At this moment, another notification appeared, gently reminding him that the higher the rank of the trait, the more attribute points received. Thamdar was both happy and angry, thinking, so anyone can notch points.
They should have told me earlier.
He silently ordered, swallow the polite person.
In an instant, the notification indicated the swallowing was successful. He quickly said, increase my agility now. The notification reminded, agility increased from 2 to 3.
NGUI, letter 1EC7TH, letter 1E1L, letter 1ED9C han first technique, evasion has been used.
At that moment, a blue light enveloped Thamdar. The masked man swung his gun towards him and pulled the trigger. Thamdar, now agile, lowered his body and successfully dodged an idea appearing in his mind about the door.
As the door appeared, he quickly rushed towards the masked man, hurriedly running in after him, shouting, don't even think about running.
Looking ahead, he saw no one in the forest. The man hesitated. This is a secret path.
Thamdar was already waiting by the door.
Goodbye, assassin.
The man hurriedly turned around, yelling, I've caught you.
Die. But waiting for him was a tightly closed door. The skeleton opened its mouth wide, ready with sharp teeth, waiting for the prey to rush in. The assassin lost momentum and fell into hot blood, splattering everywhere. In the darkness, the crisp sound of crunching like eating snacks echoed, teeth clattering loudly. The skeleton's already broken arm was also disintegrating.
Thamdar barely escaped death, leaning against the wall and panting heavily.
He wiped the sweat from his face, his voice low and unpleasant, too dangerous. There will be more assassins knocking on my door soon. I can't just survive for a second. I must quickly find some skills to protect myself. Suddenly, an ancient scroll with light appeared before him, accompanied by a notification.
His living items pleased the opponent immensely.
According to the principle of equal exchange, the opponent took an item in return. Simultaneously, a pact was recognized, a silver crown and a silver medal floated in the air. Next to them was a note. The crown was named B1CH and A3NH crown, and the medal was Bang B1C war medal. He was amazed. What?
In just a moment, it gave me 2 items, and they are green tier items.
The opponent thoughtfully explained the items. B1CH and A3NH crown is a superior green tier equipment with high-level illusion spells from the Dark Abyss. Whoever wears it can disguise themselves as a spirit clan's life form or undead spirit. The next is the Bang B1C war medal made of silver, symbolizing the glorious war achievements of the spirit clan.
Only soldiers who have made contributions can wear this medal.
It can transmit to the spirit clan's influence range.
He was delighted, laughing, haha, this skeleton initially wanted to eat me, but now seeing the trade value he's been giving me good items continuously. Thamdar tried on the crown, thinking, I'll wear a B1CH and A3NH crown to test it out. In an instant, his hair turned yellow, his ears grew longer, and his attire changed. His cheeks turned bright red with happiness as he looked at his body excitedly, exclaiming, damn, I really have transformed into a spirit.
This is awesome.
Tomorrow, I'll gain powers from whoever helps me again. I want to visit the spirit realm for a while. Suddenly, the sound of knocking echoed, knock, 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 accompanied by a voice saying, hello, is anyone home? He spoke up, asking back, who is it? Internally, he switched to alert mode, wondering who was knocking at the door and where there would be an assassin. Suddenly, outside there was a knock. It was the voice of Tran Haovu sounding worried, calling out, it's me, Ande. Are you okay?
I'm fine, thank you, he replied.
I'm here, Tran Haovu. Thamdar transformed back and went to the door. As he walked, he rummaged through his memories trying to recall who this person was. He thought Tran Haovu, Thamdar's good friend. That day, Thamdar came to the hospital to visit him.
Before transforming back, he hurriedly said, I heard you came here.
As he opened the door, Vu Hao embraced him tightly and cried bitterly, saying, Andar, you made me worry so much.
Upon hearing this, he thought, now he's crying even louder.
I'm sorry, it's all because you caused this big trouble, he patted and comforted Haovu. Haovu didn't blame him, saying it's just bad luck.
It's okay, I'm still healthy. As the brotherly bond was strong, his mother returned home. Upon seeing this, she exclaimed, oh, isn't this Haovu? So you've come to visit me, my child. He looked out the door, then asked his mother, is everything okay, mother?
Where's father?
His mother replied, father isn't here.
I'm going inside. I was looking for grandfather. Maybe I can ask them to buy some tonic medicine for you. Have you taken your supplement? He nodded and replied, yes, I've taken it. Upon hearing the mention of the tonic, Vu Hao was astonished. Tonic medicine? That's very rare. Even if you have the money, you might not be able to buy it from Andar's place.
Thamdar, keeping his true identity hidden, forced a smile. Haha, it also requires a lot of effort.
Haovu spoke admiringly, not forgetting to remind Thamdar, your parents are really good to you.
You need to get better quickly so you can take the high school entrance exams. At first, he was confused. Then he suddenly realized that it was the high school entrance exams.
The original owner was a middle school student who was now going through a very important high school exam.
Due to a curse, Thamdar had been in the hospital and had missed the first subject exam. Haovu sadly bowed his head and cried, blaming himself. With my top academic record, I was sure I could pass the key high school. But it's all because of you.
His mother saw him crying pitifully and patted his shoulder, comforting him. Don't blame yourself, Haovu.
Even though Thamdar missed the first strength exam,
But in the second agility exam, as long as you perform well, you can still pass the regular high school. He remained silent, thinking. The high school exams in this world were different from the ones he was used to. Besides academic subjects, they also had to test strength and agility. These are attributes. Which class does Nguyen H letter or Neo1.Hang belong to? There are requirements for agility. He thought about his current situation. He was outside in the morning while the other person was inside at night. He also thought to himself, but now I'm being hunted to school, which is equivalent to exposing myself in danger.
His mother saw her son suddenly trembling and silent, still immersed in the chaotic thoughts of whether he should give up.
His mother's eyes were filled with gentle love and affection.
Her two hands reached out forward.
She warmly embraced him into her arms, not wanting to add any more pressure on her precious child.
She stroked his head and said, if you don't want to take the exam, that's okay. Hearing this, he was surprised and his eyes widened.
she continued, your parents only hope that you're healthy and safe.
He softened, his eyes glistening with tears.
Then from within, she lifted her face, clenched her fist tightly, and smiled brightly, saying, don't worry.
Mother, don't you know about my powers or what?
She looked at him enthusiastically and smiled.
He fell into thought, if I told my mother to quit the exam, she would surely agree. On the surface, she still keeps smiling, saying, tomorrow I'll come to transfer and join focus training.
Now that I'm in Thamdar's body, I can't let my parents down, but I can't do that either. Thamdar's memories kept flooding his head. His grandfather and his family's lineage seemed to be extraordinary, with extremely vast resources. He remembered that in the past, his parents had taken Thamdar's hand and left home. However, the relationship between his parents and his grandfather's family was not good.
His parents had never asked his grandfather for help. The two of them relied on their own efforts to make a living.
Although their situation was ordinary, their lives were very hard, so
Thamdar's parents had been living very difficult lives since leaving home.
they couldn't afford to buy such tonic medicines.
But because of Thamdar, they surely had struggled, bending their backs and kneeling to beg his grandfather.
Our son Thamdar has passed away.
Therefore, I can't let their suffering be in vain.
You will repay Thamdar.
Thinking about this, he whimpered and called out to his mother, "Mother, I'm so hungry. What did you cook for me tonight?"
Then his mother cooked for both of them.
Each having a bowl of noodles.
She sat with empty hands watching her son slurp his noodles, looking extremely satisfied.
The next day was a beautiful day, with sunlight pouring down onto the grand school.
In class, he looked at the pile of books on the desk and then listed introductory physical education, mental training, strength training.
Thamdar picked up the book and flipped through each page, thinking, the subjects in this world are truly different.
In such a crowded school, one can't take action in a place with so many people. If I can get into a good high school, there are surely many talented teachers who can protect me there. A classmate walked to his desk and pointed towards the main gate, saying, "Thamdar, TRI letter 1EC7 Udai is looking for you in the hallway." He raised his eyebrows. "Huh, TRI letter 1EC7 Udai." He both walked out and rummaged through his memories. TRI letter 1EC7 Udai. I remember she's Thamdar's friend. She used to cling to Thamdar every day to discuss studies.
When he arrived at the place and saw someone already waiting, he asked, "Are you looking for me?"
TRI letter 1AC7 Udai was a wealthy girl with a black ponytail and rosy cheeks. She turned her head with a hint of sadness and said, "I heard you returned to prepare for the first subject exam.
I did well on my papers and I have a good grip on the other subjects too.
You should be able to get into a key school. Congratulations." She smiled at him, then fell silent. She had a hint of sadness in her eyes as she said, "I mean later on, don't come looking for me anymore."
The crowd gathered around, watching, laughing, and gossiping.
Is there drama? Is there drama? Someone else called out, "Don't hesitate, come quickly, come here."
The school's most handsome boy wanted to hit Thamdar.
The girl resolutely turned and walked away. I mean, from now on we'll each go our own way. Sooner or later, because we're from different social classes, we'll lose common topics to talk about.
So let's not continue developing this relationship.
But we can still be friends.
He frowned, looking at her like she was acting foolishly.
He thought, obviously, I'm missing a subject, and you still want to come here and play games.
Is that too much?
He remained silent, not saying anything. The girl raised her phone. As proof, I've deleted all contact methods. I hope you can live well in the future. He tugged his earlobe casually and said, I remember that for the past few years, you've always come to class and we've looked for you. But I've never actively sought you out. TRI, letter 1EC7 you die bang. I've never wanted to be friends with you.
Now that you're about to take the exam, I hope you can pass it, but don't come clinging to me and affecting my study.
Upon hearing him speak, the girl blushed.
The other people continued their previous conversation.
Before Thamdar was the top student, and TRI letter 1EC7 you die bang clung to him.
The person next to her hurriedly asked, what is it now? Thamdar failed a subject and now wants to set clear boundaries in front of everyone. Isn't that a bit excessive? A girl with a freckled face suddenly lunged forward and shouted, wait.
Dangin has given you many gifts.
So you talk to him like that?
Thamdar, you're really disappointing people.
With the way you treat her, people would wonder who you...
TRI,
letter 1EC7 you die bang.
suddenly had tears welling up and choked. Thamdar, I thought we were friends.
Inside, Thamdar was feeling very annoyed.
Pretending to be pitiful and saying, don't let me go. It seemed like she was determined to beat him up.
But you are belittling my superclass, he thought.
Thamdar scratched his head impatiently and replied, TRI, letter 1EC7 you die bang. Yes, I have accepted your gifts, but receiving them doesn't mean I have to accept you.
The group of boys behind them raised their hands agreeing, and a chaotic noise erupted.
Classic inequality, using magic to defeat magic.
Wait for the crowd to discuss, they said.
You turn and leave without hesitation.
If you truly want the best for me, you shouldn't use those gifts to tie me down.
I have the right to go towards better people. I have nothing to say to you. If you want to take back the gifts, I will compensate you.
He stopped, raised his middle finger towards the person behind, and coldly said, but don't even dream of being friends with me.
TRI letter 1EC7 you die bang was stunned by what he said.
The girl, with a face full of freckles,
clenched her fist tightly
and angrily shouted, Thamdar, you're trash.
The crowd behind them immediately turned away.
Thamdar pretended to be clueless, tugging at his earlobe.
Noisy shouts and insults kept ringing out. Thamdar, you're so vile and despicable.
TRI, that's 1EC7 you die bang. Always had strong feelings for you and was so virtuous, but you're so terrible.
You're no better than any girl. Thamdar, come back quickly and don't disappoint people's sincere feelings. TRI letter 1EC7 you die bang saw him slowly walking away. So she raised her hand to call after him. It's not like that.
Thamdar replied, we haven't clarified anything yet.
The freckled girl then intervened. Enough. That kind of guy isn't worth it. In her heart, TRI letter 1EC7 you die bang became more impatient. Although it seemed like everyone was helping her, clearly she had come to kick him out, and now it turned into her being kicked out, with so many people watching. How could she ever be accepted by others anymore?
At this moment, a big guy suddenly stood in front of Thamdar, blocking his way.
He glared and stood still.
Seeing that he wasn't saying anything, the guy gritted his teeth and spoke through clenched teeth. TRI letter 1 EC7 you die bang still isn't letting you go.
Thamdar was not scared.
He clenched his fist, lifted his head coldly, and said, "Isn't this?"
Lord Min, you're ranked 3rd in the entire block.
How about you avoid and don't block Lord Min's way?
Not only do you not avoid, but you also threaten Thamdar.
Not attending school for a few days. That's too outdated. My power has skyrocketed. Now you're no longer the top of the block. If you don't want to have your bones broken, then immediately apologize, you punk.
Suddenly,
Thamdar turned his face as if flipping a crate.
He sighed, "Friend Lord Min, are you mistaken?"
TRI letter 1 EC7 you die bang call me here. It's not that I'm clinging to her. So if you want an apology, then apologize. He turned to TRI letter 1 EC7 you die bang and lowered his voice. I'm sorry, you win. That's deserving of an Oscar, she said, tears streaming down like rain.
Her voice choking.
TRI letter 1 EC7 you die bang. You can keep harassing me, but you're satisfied now, aren't you? After saying that, he turned and ran away. His sobbing echoed, hoo hoo, and everyone around was wide-eyed watching. The crowd continued to eat melon and then dispersed. TRI letter 1 EC7 you die bang was confused, not knowing what to do.
Someone behind her side, Thamdar, just started crying.
He must be really heartbroken. She knew that at this moment, if she didn't speak up, it would be hard to save him.
She immediately chased after him, running while shouting, "Wait, wait. I didn't mean to force you."
Don't listen to Lord Min's words.
As she finished speaking, she saw something was wrong. Oh, what am I saying?
Why am I saying I didn't mean to force you?
That idiot Lord Min is harming me. My head is spinning.
Lord Min also joined in, raising his fist
Towards him,
Gritting his teeth,
and cursing, this brat, I have to teach you a lesson.
Inside, he groaned, "How annoying."
Clearly, I came to support Bang Bang, but why has it come to this? Thamdar, with sharp eyes, saw his arm coming towards him.
He grabbed Lord Min's arm tightly as a pivot, then jerked himself up.
The crowd looked up in astonishment, mouths agape, watching the scene unfold.
Thamdar took advantage of the momentum and kicked Lord Min in the head, causing him to tilt his head forward.
A green halo surrounded his body, stabilizing his landing, while Lord Min behind him remained in the same stance. The crowd murmured again, "Can you see it clearly?" What is that? At this speed, he's much faster than before. If he had tried to kick with all his might earlier, Lord Min might have fainted by now. Lord Min couldn't react at all. The green light that just emitted was the technique of Nguyen H letter 1 ear 1 Lockhan.
Thamdar now comfortably spoke. I already apologized, so why are you still arrogantly threatening others?
A teacher, seeing the noisy crowd, approached and angrily said, "Students, why are you gathering here? The simulation exam is about to begin, and you should quickly go to the stadium to assemble."
Everyone hurriedly dispersed. Someone urged, hurry up, or the teacher will beat you."
Another person regretfully said, "Too bad we didn't get to watch these two fight. I wonder how spectacular it would have been." Lord Min glanced sideways at Thamdar and said, "This isn't over yet."
Thamdar responded with a cold grunt, okay.
On the schoolyard, under the warm sunlight, people were lining up in long rows waiting for their turn. As Thamdar was warming up, Tran Hao Vu ran over and raised his hand to greet him.
He approached him and then proposed, "This test has been going on for a long time.
With so many people lined up like this, it hasn't even called our names yet.
Did you open a comic shop behind the school, or are we just wandering around there for a bit and then going back?" Hearing this, Thamdar remembered that Tran Hao Vu had reminded him yesterday that he was too tired and had slept on his body, forgetting to fetch AI Tong.
Now at this moment he could go and fetch AI Tong today.
Outwardly, he pretended to clutch his stomach and said, "I refuse.
I'm not going anywhere.
You join the line for me.
I'm having a stomachache and need to go to the bathroom." Tran Hao Vu was surprised. Thamdar went to the men's restroom area, carefully looking around to see if anyone was present. After confirming there was no one, he quickly ran into an empty stall. His figure had just obscured a light bulb that was waiting nearby. Then he appeared. In his hand, he held a weapon and gently stepped towards the room that Thamdar had just entered.
He gently pushed the door, his pen glowing with cold purple light in his hand.
He tried to lower his breath, suppressing his sense of existence, walking while observing in the dark space. Looking below and not finding anything, he raised his head to search. Even after opening all the restroom doors, he still couldn't find Thamdar's figure. He was astonished, wondering where he was. Clearly he had seen him enter here.
It turned out that while the guy was looking for him, Thamdar had already entered the door, took the crown of Thuong Biletter 1EA1CHM, and wore it, and transformed into a spirit.
You were walking along the tunnel, calling out to the skeleton, "Are you not here?"
Suddenly, a rustling sound echoed beneath your feet. It seemed you had stepped on something.
You bent down to look, and saw a gun.
You muttered, "This is the assassin's gun."
You carefully inspected it, noting that it was in good condition, and even had ammunition.
This time, arriving in the realm of the spiritual beings, you had an extra means of defense, although you had never handled a gun before.
You took out a silver war medal, your voice showing signs of hope, not knowing where the skeleton had gone.
You decided to ignore the time doesn't wait for anyone, and continued to move quickly.
A green light appeared beneath your feet, and your cloak fluttered gently as if a breeze was blowing. While waiting to be teleported to the area inhabited by spiritual forces, your eyes widened in astonishment as you heard a familiar sound echoing in your mind, humanity.
You hurriedly asked, "Who is your mysterious voice?" The other party, in a weak voice, replied, "I really don't have the ability to do much more for you.
Take this. You were stunned as you looked at the dark, shapeless object in your hand. As the teleportation was almost complete, the other party's words echoed in your ears. This is a relic of humanity. Teleportation was successful. On the ground, it was completely barren with no signs indicating that someone had just appeared there.
The feeling of weightlessness passed, and you were teleported to a place surrounded by dense vegetation. You sat on the ground, astonished, observing your surroundings.
You gently rubbed your head inside. Ugh, I'm so dizzy.
So the teleportation was successful. This place is the territory of the spiritual beings. You looked at the sharp sword in your hand, puzzled. This is what that mysterious voice gave me. Why did it give me this?
A man nearby saw your silhouette and frowned, then shouted loudly,
Who's there?
2 other individuals heard the commotion and approached.
They all had a spiritual being's physique similar to yours.
One of them, looking puzzled, frowned and uttered a name, Fen.
Inwardly, you were stunned upon hearing the name, silently repeating it in your mind, Fong.
The man wielding the sword complained, Ugh, finally you arrived.
You're really late.
The man with the shield beside him added, if you keep delaying, we'll have to declare the mission a failure and report back.
You stood up awkwardly and explained.
There were some complications, so I'm a bit late.
Inwardly, you thought, all 3 of them wear the silver crown, and they look like me.
None of us are true spiritual beings.
The man with the sword clenched his fist and said firmly, all right, regardless, you're here now.
We have gained the trust of the spiritual clan. They believe we are brave soldiers who returned injured from the battlefield. Tonight, we will act to kill their chieftain and seize their treasure. Fong, are you ready?
Hearing that, you reached up to touch the silver war medal on your head and said, of course my hands are already itching. The 3 others saw your action and simultaneously shouted, don't do it.
Everyone looked distressed, their faces covered in sweat.
The man with the shield couldn't hold back and pointed at you, scolding, you idiot.
How could you remove the silver war medal?
If your true spirit being identity is exposed, we'll be outcasts in the ghost realm.
You scratched your head and continuously apologized. I just wanted to adjust it. It's uncomfortable to wear.
I'm sorry.
Internally, you realized that indeed, the war medals and identical crowns showed that all 3 were spirit beings.
To bolster your credibility, you gave a thumbs up and confidently said, rest assured, my part will definitely be flawless.
The other party glanced at you, then spoke. That's the best you can do.
Inwardly, you felt tangled up. These skeletal beings from Fire Island, you were supposed to be their designated member, yet they are assigning tasks to you.
They had gathered a leader who was both running and speaking, urging hurry to the spiritual clan's village.
From behind, others also looked at you, urging you to speed up.
Your tardiness had already caused considerable delays.
Looking at the 3 others moving swiftly like flying, you thought to yourself, they are so fast, I have to push myself to the limit just to barely keep up with these spirit beings. They're incredible.
When the 4 of you arrived, it was already pitch dark.
In front was an impressive building.
A short-haired man announced, we've arrived.
To enter the village, you must be permitted by the village chief. This checkpoint poses no danger, you just need to show your war medal.
You found it strange and asked again, for what task is there any danger?
You were sweating profusely, letting out a sigh of relief. Finally, we've arrived.
If I had to run another 10 minutes, I might have been exposed. The other man looked at you with suspicion, but still replied, of course, the assassination. Tonight 3 of us will guard you outside, and you're in charge of killing the target.
On the surface, you were sweating profusely. You pointed at yourself and asked skeptically, kill the chieftain. Me? The other man with a dark expression asked back, is that really the case?
Another man with a frowning face, sounding displeased, asked, do you want to back out?
Quickly regaining your composure, you lifted the sword blade to your mouth, then licked the blade, showing a bloodthirst expression. In an expectant tone, you said, backing out.
How could I?
The blade of my sword can't be restrained. I crave blood. Just assign this mission to me.
The group looked pleased and said, I'm very good.
You smiled and laughed, cursing inwardly. Damn it, if they dare say no, these spirit beings will deal with me on the spot. A spirit being took out the silver war medal and held it up for the guards at the city gate to see.
Then he said, our comrades have arrived.
Please let him enter the village.
You looked around thoughtfully, considering that assassinating the chieftain of the spiritual camp would essentially be a suicide attack either way. You'd die.
These skeletal beings wanted you to become a death demon in their place.
The guard recognized it and gave the command, open the gate, signaling that he was a fierce frontline soldier.
He went down to the entrance, then gestured for you to come follow me to meet the chieftain. The group followed him inside, and as they ascended the stairs, he introduced the surrounding scenery.
Along the way, you met a mother and child spirit who recognized you as a brave soldier returning from the front.
They happily raised their hands and waved hello.
Then you encountered beautiful and alluring spirit girls. Your face quickly turned red.
The guide led you to a door, then stopped and said, come in.
The chieftain knows you have arrived and is waiting for you.
One of the 3 spirit beings pointed in a direction and said, go meet the chieftain.
The rest of us will rest here waiting for you.
You nodded and silently cursed inwardly, HMPH, if I try to run away, I will.
Alone,
you slowly proceeded inside, musing bitterly, how despicable being involuntarily dragged into this conflict between spirit and human beings for no reason.
But you tried to think positively. Perhaps I can successfully assassinate and maybe gain some benefits.
Inside, the space was greyish with lights only coming in from outside through the gap between two large glass doors.
You slowly walked along the stream of light. You carefully observed the surroundings. The dark scenery made you involuntarily hold your breath.
You walked until you saw a dark silhouette reading a book beside a large blue glass door.
Hearing noises behind the person, you gently closed the book, hearing a thud.
The other party was a male spirit being with straight long hair.
He lowered his voice and greeted you. Welcome, soldier from the front line.
Your face was astonished when you saw the other person.
Unexpectedly, a notification appeared on your door, bringing with it the ability to evaluate items.
Because of that, you could see other existing items.
Around the person was a purple vortex with countless items spinning within.
You were astonished, wondering if all these items belonged to this spirit being. You looked up, seeing grey-coloured items labelled with your name.
You remained silent, not knowing what to say.
What do these items belong to?
You forced a hopeless smile and silently cursed yourself. How naive I am to think I could successfully assassinate.
Those 3 spirit beings out there are much stronger than me.
Even with courage, facing the chieftain spirit is beyond me.
Seeing that the other party was observing your entire body, you
Couldn't help but tremble.
You silently cursed.
A polite person is fighting against the legendary spirit Violetta One and Samkai.
The heir to the royal manor, a master of natural elemental spells, a guardian of nightmare realms, the school quintet of the world, so impressive. Indeed, you're amazing.
These skeletons remember you well, so damn it.
Around your body, beams of light appeared.
The chieftain's voice echoed, young and brave soldier, thanks you for your sacrifice.
Please stay in our village to rest well.
You looked towards the beams of light and understood the teleportation magic.
We are having a celebration feast.
Please go enjoy yourself.
He finished.
You were teleported to sit beside a lavish dining table.
Your comrades on the right saw you appear and said, you've arrived.
eat up, it's still early.
We can rest for a while.
We'll guard you.
The person on the far right whispered, you've already encountered the assassination target, haven't you? He'll attend the feast shortly.
Wait until he lowers his guard,
Then strike.
You took a bite of bread and ate while silently laughing to yourself, haha, guarding me. They probably want to create chaos, then let me run away.
If things go like this, I'll definitely die. I must think of something.
A voice interrupted your thoughts.
It was a young and beautiful female spirit being.
She gently said, hey, could I invite you to dance?
her face flushed slightly pink, and her big round eyes showed an innocent look.
She hesitated, adding, dancing with a frontline hero is a great honor.
You heard the admiration in her voice and replied, of course, I'd be happy to.
But you thought, but I'm terrible at dancing.
The female spirit took your hand, reassuring you it's okay, I'll teach you how to dance.
She then led you into the dance area, and you awkwardly followed her guidance to dance.
Gradually, the two of you became more in sync.
The female spirit took one of your hands, raised it high,
And gently swayed. Next, your arms intertwined, and both of you slowly moved in a circular motion.
Then the female spirit boldly took your arm, pulled it over her shoulder, and smiled happily.
the two of you danced in harmony, spinning in circles.
You felt a bit regretful and sighed, thinking to yourself, I'm about to die.
If it weren't for this silly business, I could be freely singing and dancing with this delightful spirit maiden.
How annoying, I need to think of a way out. The female spirit noticed that you had been silent the entire time, so she suddenly took your hand and curiously asked, why aren't you saying anything?
Are your comrades like that too?
Is it because the intense fighting on the front
has affected your mood?
You quickly turned to deny it. No, I'm just thinking while dancing.
Then, feeling bad about declining the invitation, you changed the subject and asked, what's your name, miss?
The female spirit introduced herself, I'm Lani. As you thought about it, you appeared mysterious and said,
Lani,
I want to perform magic for you as a thank you.
Is that okay?
Lani got excited and smiled brightly, haha, really?
Great.
then please perform it for me quickly.
She then took out an exquisite bracelet and placed it on your hand, softly saying, actually, you're not bad at dancing.
Here, take this bracelet of mine as a gift for the magic. But just so you know,
If your magic isn't impressive, I'll take the bracelet back.
You spun around, leaving only a confident remark, no problem. You stood on the table, waved your hands towards everyone, stirring the atmosphere. Dear friends, everyone, please look towards me.
I will now perform a magic act that you've never seen before.
You pointed your finger at yourself and wore a standard smile, saying, that is the transformation of the living person.
I can transform myself into a human. Lani, leading from below, shouted loudly, really?
Hurry up and transform, let's see.
Other spirit beings, also curious, spoke up.
I've never seen magic turn someone into a human.
That's interesting.
Hurry up and transform.
But your comrades seemed worried.
What is this fawn doing?
Transforming into a human, do you know the spell?
Another man stroked his chin, thoughtfully. I didn't expect Fon to be smart enough to think of this method to quickly integrate into the spiritual beings.
You gently touched the silver war medal and then raised your voice. Look closely here.
You threw the crown towards Lani and shouted, take this.
As soon as it left your head, your entire body transformed back to your original form.
Lani looked up, raised both hands to catch the falling crown, And you heard her voice in your ear, beautiful Lady Lani. The crowd looked at the young man standing on the table and continuously exclaimed, "Wow, his ears and eyebrows. Look, he really transformed into a human. He's also a human teenager. Amazing."
Lani held the crown tightly in her hands and shouted loudly, "Thank you, Fon."
Quickly transform back. Your voice suddenly dropped.
You pointed to your head and then said, "The thing is, I could transform into a human because I removed that crown."
Surprisingly, you pointed towards your 3 comrades and said, "These brothers of mine also know this magic."
The crowd simultaneously looked in the direction of your arm. Your voice was neither fast nor slow, but it was like a bomb being triggered to explode. As long as they remove the crowns they are wearing, they will transform back into spirit beings.
Upon hearing the term spirit beings, the spirit beings all froze and sounds echoed.
Saying fully alert upon seeing the sharp pointed horns aimed at them, the 3 fake spirit beings still tried to act as if they didn't understand what was happening, still asking questions like, "What's going on? What's this about?" While the crowd was getting restless, Thamdar summoned Kankuat, crossed his arms, looked at everyone, and then spoke, "Wait, after my 3 brothers transform, I will return immediately."
The crowd was surprised and started accusing Kankura. "Since when did you turn into a spirit being?"
Seeing the arms reaching towards him, Kankura gently stepped back, moved to the side, raised his hand to wave goodbye to the spirit lady. "Farewell, Miss Lanai."
In front of them was Kankura, who was gradually becoming transparent.
They were astonished and exclaimed, "He disappeared."
What kind of magic is this?
Lani was stunned, looking at the void in front, with shouts from the side. Call the 3 wandering spirits to be careful. They might have some tricks.
The 3 intended to escape, but it was too late. They were caught by rigid, tree root-like ropes that wrapped around their bodies and lifted them up.
A green light suddenly appeared with a deep voice, thinking of playing around with people.
Too bad. The spirit leader had sent a message here.
He mocked, "The wandering spirits want to infiltrate my village, but didn't expect humans to have infiltrated your team long ago, even leading your missions."
How irritating. One imposter still tried to grasp. Is there some misunderstanding? We have medals. While he was speaking, a branch slowly moved towards. The branch had just drawn the crown of Thuon, be letter 1A1CH and letter 1A3NH. He silently revealed himself as a wandering spirit with 2 horns and numerous eyes on his face.
The other 2 were also exposed.
The spirit leader took a crown that the branch brought, examined it, then sighed. "This crown carries high-level dark magic from the gloomy abyss. It truly was beyond my expectations.
Every village has a spy from the wandering clan mixed in.
This object allows us to find its weaknesses and counterattack." His eyes glanced towards the table where Thamdar had been lowering his tone.
"This time he owes me a favor."
Lani also looked in that direction, silent, thinking that he would not return anymore.
Thamdar sat on the ground, exhaling a sigh, not expecting that Kankura would know how to transform into a form suitable for the environment. The situation was too dangerous, a lesson to remember for later. Seeing the skeletons making rustling sounds nearby, he angrily spoke, "Rotten skeletons, I worked hard in the spirit territory, while you enjoy feasting here." The skeleton turned around, suspicious. "You're still alive." "You fool," pointing at him. "So he can speak. Your master deliberately gave me the Thuon, be letter 1A1CH and letter 1A3NH crown to make me risk my life, right?" The skeleton insisted. "How did you survive? Tell me the detailed process and I will reward you accordingly." He thought, "I will just refuse him straightforwardly. He will think I will tell him. It's not a matter of reward, but you harmed me, nearly killed me. I am an enemy of your race." A loud roar sounded before him. Was a familiar ancient scroll, stating that the opponent had intentions to exchange equally, preparing to give him a powerful wandering spirit magic. The value of this magic. He angrily, with one hand, flicked the scroll aside, with the other hand, clenched his fist, shouting loudly, thinking of buying off me with some item. "You're insulting my character."
The skeleton raised his hand. Purple sparkles emanated from a glass in his hand.
He patiently explained that he gave him the Thuon, be letter 1EA1CH and letter 1EA3NH crown because humans, spirits, and humanity are allies.
"You'll even have a chance to survive if you stay. You will only die."
He looked at the glass floating in front. The scroll again provided information apologizing for exceeding the equal exchange principle. Decided to gift him a Nightmare Legacy glass. The Nightmare Legacy glass stores 3 highest level wandering spirits. He could choose one to merge with his soul and thus possess its power. The skeleton patiently explained that the heavenly gift is a personal special ability that can be successfully deployed without consuming any power.
This Nightmare Legacy class is the foundation of the Wandering Clan's origins, extremely valuable.
After being injured, he could still survive because they wanted to obtain this glass to inherit the heavenly gifts. Therefore, they had not acted against him yet, but he gave this opportunity to him, thinking they wouldn't expect him to give it to a human.
He awkwardly touched his head, saying, "I have principles, but since you have such intentions, I forgive you this once. But remember, no second chances."
As soon as he finished speaking, the scroll in his hand made a snapping sound.
A loud noise echoed, and the scene before him changed into a dojo with a red cloak holding a sword planted into the ground.
In the blink of an eye, 3 differently colored lights shot towards him, making Thamdar raise his hand to shield himself.
The sword sounded loudly in the space. You can choose one of these ancient inherited heavenly gifts to use.
The first light was green, shaped like a diamond. Next to it was a scroll stating that the U and Dare NG letter 1EF primary could evolve based on the dead body. Your dead will respond to your call, crawling up from hell to tell you what they know so their souls can finally rest. Death is the deepest education. Next was a yellow bone resembling a spine, with a scroll stating that Manhwa primary could evolve. All powers that could kill you will help your body temporarily transform into Manhwa. You won't have to suffer from fate schemes. Death lasts 5 seconds, after which a day will restore its effect. Those wanting to control your life and death won't have a good outcome. Finally, a blue side was there, with a scroll stating Wandering Spirit Resurrection Primary could evolve to create a fire soul group attached to the Wandering Spirit's body. When the Wandering Spirit dies in battle, the fire soul will enter the body to help it revive.
There are many types of resurrection magic, but this one is of extremely high mystery origin, helping wandering spirits to regenerate their origin power.
He carefully analysed that Wandering Spirit Resurrection had no effect on him now. Manhwa can avoid 5 seconds, seems invincible, but after the second, what? Aren't you still dead?
You and Dare NG letter 1EF seems useless, but it's exactly what he needs now.
Grasping the intelligence, he can quickly capture those wanting to kill him.
He decided to take the green light emitting object, chose Dare NG letter 1EF.
The moment he finished speaking, it infiltrated his body, emitting green light bursts. He felt a slow change in his body, thinking to himself, success seemed like he could sense the wandering spirit. The skeleton whispered, "You chose this." He puzzled, asking why. "Is it not good?" The skeleton replied, "Not that it's not good, it's just it can't form a combat power quickly. In my memory, past leaders always chose the third option, very few chose the second, and no one chose it." He turned back to the earlier question. "All right, now can you tell me what exactly happened? This is very important to me." He didn't hesitate to answer, "Of course, it's like this." After hearing him finish, he pondered for a while, then spoke.
The initial assassination
Target was a female spirit consort, not a man. Earlier you said she was the strongest elder of the spirit clan.
Thamdar thought, stroking his chin thoughtfully. What's wrong with that?
She possesses special skills like the letter 1 some Kai, Nin, Ancient Tree Ed, Natural Sovereign, Law Master, Natural Enemy of the letter 1 Our Law Master of the Din, CH letter 1E7 Lao Chai, NG letter 1EF.
He laughed coldly. HMPH, the 3 warriors of the Wandering Clan, were captured by the spirits, so they can no longer supervise and threaten me.
This is my only chance.
After saying that, he didn't say another word and turned to leave.
He called after him, "Hey, where are you going?"
Seeing his figure go farther, he turned back to the door, sighed softly, "Fine, let him go. We still have to take care of ourselves." Each family, each plant, each household, each scene that he had just opened the door and returned to the bathroom had received a notification. This time, opening the door received his own evaluation skill, explained specifically as follows: your skill is green, elite quality. Equipped with this skill, you receive the following benefits. When you tell this target, the opponent will consider you theirs for 10 seconds, after which they will forget everything that just happened. You can use this skill once a day, and the target's overall attributes cannot be doubled, otherwise they will counter the skill. Thamdar looked at the green attribute on his hand, satisfied. The green quality seems useful. Another notification appeared. You received the Bamboo Blessing Bracelet, natural, elite quality, rare. Wearing this bracelet can slowly increase your mental strength. Thamdar bowed his head, looking at the bracelet with a delicate flower as the focal point, thinking to himself, the bracelet is a bracelet Lan gave me. Didn't expect it to be of green quality. Good stuff. He left the bathroom, summarizing his gains. Not bad, not bad.
A short sword, a green evaluation skill, a green bracelet,
And also a gun. Great haul. He thought, I need to hide these items, don't let others see them. At the competition ground, TH letter 1A7Y Jiang was reading the name of the next person to check their body techniques. The next was Tran Hao Vu. He quickly took his position ready.
As soon as the sound started, he shouted. He rushed forward.
The coloured medicines, not following the rules, were continuously sprayed out to evaluate the agility of the competitor. Thamdar stood in the crowd cheering non-stop. H letter 1E10 Vu, keep it up, stay calm. H letter 1E10 Vu heard the familiar sound, looked up, waved his hand, and thank you Darkar for cheering me on, but this is just a minor issue, my brother can handle it.
The moment he finished speaking, the purple-coloured medicine shot straight at his face, making him stunned.
People laughed loudly. Ha ha. Tran Hao Vu got hit in the head. You idiot. Who told you to act like that?
H letter 1EA10 Vu, dejected, heard TH letter 1EA7Y Jiang announced Tran Hao Vu 71 points. You should feel lucky because this is not the official high school exam. Next, Thamdar.
Thamdar heard TH letter 1EA7Y Jiang call his name, raised his hand, shouted, yes.
He confidently stepped into the starting line, took a preparation stance. TH letter 1EA7Y Jiang repeated the familiar words, prepare. Thamdar quickly began moving and dodging the coloured medicine boxes being sprayed, manoeuvring swiftly. The surrounding people continuously cheered, quick, too quick.
The medicine boxes are spraying out faster than Thamdar's speed. His stance is very relaxed, like ice skating.
Since he was discharged from the hospital, his agility has greatly improved. An image of him moving caught someone's eye. It turned out there were two people nearby watching. Thamdar, the senior leader, in a motorcycle jacket, leaning against a tree trunk, said excitedly, "This kid's techniques are interesting." Next to him was a fat uncle in a vest. "This is the leader of our group. He missed the first exam, so I called him to see if we could give him another chance."
Apart from strength and agility, this high school test also checks a special attribute, mental strength.
The senior leader evaluated that regarding body techniques, he has considerable talent.
If his mental strength can also reach the maximum score, then giving him a chance is not impossible.
The fat uncle was astonished at asking to achieve maximum
Mental strength.
Is the senior leader's requirement too high?
He was rightly worried, thinking to himself that Thamdar's mental strength was quite ordinary. With a hopeful tone, he said, "Wait for the mental strength test results. Maybe he can achieve a high score."
Thamdar was still performing the dodge test easily. The senior leader heard this, thus did
Not agree. Only maximum points can meet the requirements. In response, he only sighed. After the test ended, th letter 1EA7Y Jiang regretfully announced M has reached maximum agility.
Oh Thamdar, if you hadn't missed a subject,
How lucky you are. He smiled softly. "Thank you, th letter 1EA7Y.
I haven't given up on the exam yet. Time was up for the test.
th letter 1EA7Y Jiang announced, lunch break. Anyone want to eat can go. Others will continue the exam in the afternoon."
Tran Hovu didn't spare the praise.
"Oh Thamdar, great job, maximum points, let's go eat some
Stir fry. Thamdar looked at him as if he were a dirty cat, suggesting, "You better go wash first, I'll go to class for a while."
Tran Halvu was still excited. "Dakar, I'll wait for you in class. I'll wash quickly, wait for me." He nodded hum.
Thamdar returned to the classroom. After looking through the books, he buried his head into the books, grumbling, "What's this?"
He moaned, "What is this? Math, physics, chemistry, never mind, it's similar to the previous world, but the knowledge in language and science, historical figures, events, even literary works are completely different from the previous world. It feels like different memories are fighting inside my head hurts too much." Suddenly, a foot with extreme force kicked up. A male student kicked Thamdar's desk, sending his books flying and knocking over the desk and chair. It turned out to be Tonmin.
He smirked. "I already told you, Thamdar."
He was successful, said, "Our conversation is not over yet."
Thamdar glanced disdainfully. "Cherry die. Bang told you guys to come."
He was speaking while pointing his finger towards the class door. Tonmin was about to make a move, but didn't pay attention to Thamdar. As he finished speaking, the door was kicked open loudly.
Tonmin raised his arm, showing his muscles, challenging Thamdar.
"When you weren't at school, my strength had already doubled. Let's compete. Let's see if your 2 points of agility are stronger or my 2 points of strength are stronger, to see who's truly the head of the whole group, the righteous one." Thamdar immediately activated his evaluation skill, own skill.
He lightly said, "What are you doing?"
all you do is own skill.
The people who were cheering suddenly changed their expressions and fell silent strangely.
Tonmin scratched his head, breaking the silence. "I have no choice." Cherry Dai Bang begged us to have some anger towards her.
The others followed suit.
"We didn't want to hit our own brothers, it's because I like her more. Moreover, my brothers are too arrogant, so I wanted to punch you instead. All of us are from the same family, I won't hit anymore."
Thamdar heard this, secretly pleased in his heart, as this was just a fight between students. None of them wanted to kill him.
His evaluation skill only lasts 10 seconds, almost over.
As he thought, the crowd changed expressions, cheering, "Thamdar, we want to punch you to death."
He sighed, "This is the only effect it has and can only be used once a day, indeed useless."
He whispered to himself, swallow the notification successfully.
Swallowed successfully, absorbed the green skill, received 3 attribute points.
He decided to increase his strength attribute.
The notification gently reminded him that besides the 3 attribute points he just received, he could freely use 1 attribute point to increase agility, or use it to increase strength simultaneously. Thamdar was surprised.
"What? Attribute points used can be used freely."
"So I can immediately switch from increasing agility to increasing strength, using all 4 attribute points to increase strength immediately." The notification confirmed strength increased from 1.2 to 5.2.
The person grabbed him by the back and held his arms tightly, shouting loudly, "Thamdar, don't think about running away."
Like last time, challenged the white dragon to fight Tonmin.
Tonmin clenched his fist, rushed in front of him, shouting loudly, "Are you ready to break some bones?"
His fist carried great momentum, punching hard into his belly, making it sink deeply.
He shouted loudly, "Although you prepared yourself."
I was surprised Thamdar wasn't in pain. Your body froze, eyes wide.
Min was also stunned for a moment.
Afterwards, he was in so much pain that his eyebrows drooped, tears flowed, his whole body trembled, clutching his arms after throwing the punch, and screamed, "Ugh, oh." An untrained adult with average basic attributes of strength and agility, like a shaman, barely swings their arm, and the person behind them is pushed back.
He turns around and throws a punch at Marbian's face, causing him to fall to the ground.
Strength is a fundamental attribute, not just raw human power.
The remaining people, seeing this, are scared and whispering that they could withstand a blow from Sunming without getting hurt, and he even escaped Marbian's restraints. It must be said that strength is only the power of the limbs, the growth of each living being's bones, the strength of the 6 faculties and 5 organs, the flexibility of the meridians and 8 vessels, the explosive force of the body and flesh, the necrosis level of every cell, the standards of life. They all come together to form an individual's strength.
Seeing that Thamdar remains calm and unbothered, the crowd is terrified, exclaiming that his strength has surpassed Sunming's.
How is that possible?
He slowly steps in front of Sunming, neither fast nor slow, and clearly says, "I have failed an exam, and you still want to come here and beat me. The high school entrance exams are approaching, and you're doing this just out of jealousy, gathering in one place to ruin someone else's life without any regard."
Sunming holds his head and trembles,
Saying, "Oh, Thamdar is hateful, you're hateful."
Thamdar lifts him up with just one hand, grunting with each movement.
If this were another student or his former self, he would probably be seriously injured by you guys.
Sunming now feels fear and concedes, "Ugh, Thamdar, today it's our fault, forgive us once."
Thamdar does not show any concession, and further says, "You insult him, beat him, destroy his future."
After saying that, he swings his arm powerfully while holding Sunming's collar.
As a result, his whole body turns and forcefully slams into the scattered tables and chairs, causing pain and groaning.
Ugh, Thamdar shouts loudly in his ear, "And you still think about being forgiven by me?"
Under the schoolyard, people are startled when they hear similar sounds. Ugh, help me."
Teacher Jiang hears the cry for help and runs over, flinging open the door and shouting loudly, "What are you kids doing?"
Behind him, a group of students run after, eager for drama. They only see the scene in the classroom is extremely chaotic, with people lying scattered on the ground, bloodstains everywhere. Thamdar struggles, sitting with his back against the wall. He sees everyone arrive, and a frail-looking woman with teary, watery eyes speaks up, "Teacher, finally everyone has arrived. They are bullying me."
Teacher Jiang rolls his eyes, looks around the room, and then shouts loudly, "What are you saying? You're fighting them off, and now you're saying they're bullying you."
Tri-Dai Bang is also present among the crowd.
She looks at her phone while worrying, thinking to herself that it was a mistake.
She's so amazed that sweat sticks to her face without feeling anything. She is also puzzled, thinking to herself that these people working together are still not a match for Thamdar.
Upon seeing the notification message that the incident is over, which she received,
She's both amazed and reassuring herself, "He's so powerful, how come?"
No, nothing.
the freckle-faced girl turns and softly asks Bang Bang, "Do you regret it?"
Thinking of another hypothesis, she silently thinks, "Yes, I do regret it. If I had called him to the stairs to encourage him to keep trying, arranged to stay in contact after entering high school, would the outcome have been different?" Tri-Dai Bang bows her head silently, not answering the question.
Everyone is astonished to see Sunming lying on a stretcher being carried out by others, while Tri-Dai Bang remains deep in thought.
No, it can't come back anymore.
He caused this big trouble, injuring 7 or 8 students, and might lose his eligibility for the high school exams.
I've comforted myself that my purpose has been achieved. Thamdar is useless now, and my future will be extremely bright.
Now she turns to respond to the freckle-faced girl, "I just regret not seeing through him as a scum earlier." The other girl quickly points towards Sunming and shouts, "Bang Bang, look over there."
Tri-Dai Bang turns her head to look and sees that Sunming has been beaten into a severe head injury.
Her eyes show disbelief. It can't be Sunming, can it?
Seeing the other person with teary eyes staring at her intently, she silently curses, "This stupid guy just keeps staring at me. It's not like he wants to drag me into this."
Don't look at me with that damned look.
Looking at his pursed lips as if he wants to say something, she pleads in her heart, "Don't speak, don't speak."
Hey, shut your damn mouth and go sleep, you pig." Her eyes stare at him, while in her mind she keeps repeating, "Go die, go die, go die."
Don't, no. Everyone steps back from both sides, making way for Sunming.
He struggles, trying his best to say 2 words, "Peace, peace."
The crowd, upon hearing him say that, collectively turns their gazes toward the person being mentioned.
Tri-Dai
Bang's body stiffens instantly.
Her face flushes red,
Tears well up,
her mouth trembles, and she chokes, saying,
"Yes." She immediately switches to acting mode, turning around while covering her tears that are streaming down like a waterfall.
She raises her phone to call for help.
Hello, Sunming.
"I didn't expect Thamdar to bully you to this extent.
I'm going to report to the police right away."
"Hello, police."
We are.
Thamdar watches the scene unfold, a cold him in his heart.
He subtly diffuses and counters this move by Tri-Dai Bang. In an instant, he has erased all relationships, even trample on himself.
Teacher Jiang is both angry and worried. How can there still be students reporting to the police? This time things will get even more complicated.
After saying that, teacher Jiang raises his hand to signal the crowd to disperse. All right, disperse and go back to your study group.
Then he glances towards the student behind him, and Thamdar follows Teacher Jiang to the office. The student obediently replies, "Yes, Teacher Jiang."